What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another game development live stream where we're learning Godot and also starting to write our game design document for the game that we want to try to make in Godot. I want it to be fairly straightforward, and I want to kind of take my time in writing this design document before we actually get to like implementation and everything like that. And and we'll have a base for what we're trying to look for and what we're trying to go for when we kind of create this game. So I'm going to use the template that is provided by Pirate Software for his game jam. His game jam requires a game design document. So you can have access to this doc as well, I think. If you ever want to write a design document, it should be relatively straightforward and clear what we want to try to do. We might not be able to write everything before we get started, and I think that's okay. I just want to have like a high level kind of concept written down because I have one in my head and I kind of want to just put it down somewhere online just so I don't forget it. Well, when I say online, I mean like on this like board here. So I want to create probably a new workspace, right? Personal, just me, personal use, creative and design, we'll say. Do you use any of these tools? No. I'm gonna call it Project Echo, just for my own kind of naming convention, because once I say what the game I want to make is going to be about, it'll make a little bit of sense. We'll create a folder called Game Design. Is there a template or anything? Agile marketing. Oh my god. All right. Let's just not make one with a template. Design list, blah, blah, blah. All right, we'll create the folder. Now I want to make a doc. Project Echo Game. Or should I say game design document or GDD? Nah, game design document, I guess, is gonna be fine. Add table. I guess blank page. So yeah, it has a table of contents that we'll work on in a bit. So it starts off with an introduction. So I don't use this tool too much. Do I get headers and stuff like that? Tags. So if I want to write introduction, right? Yeah, so there's heading 1. It's an introduction. And then game summary pitch. I want at the very least to write down like this. I think will be a good start to have by the end of the stream. And then we'll definitely gonna be before the end of the stream, and then we can kind of go back to watching Godot tutorials. Game summary and how they write it. Masterblocks is a tile-based puzzle game about reducing or generally manipulating the shape of a mass to solve blocks to navigate to a goal. Okay. Whoops. So how does he write it? Okay. So Project Echo is a 2D puzzle platformer that let's see. So that challenge is players to rely on their sense of or is it that strips players of their sense of sight and forces them to rely on sound to navigate the world. Maybe their surroundings. Because I primarily I would want this game because there is a game that does this in 3D. And I forget what it's called. I think it was made in Unreal Engine. So Unreal Engine Echo Relocation game. I think I owned it at one point. Maybe it's in my library. Because it was an interesting game, but it was 3D and it was, I guess it was a horror game. I can't remember. Let's see if I can just see it from the name. Perception, I believe. So yeah, it's this kind of game where your character is blind and they use like echo relocation to kind of navigate and everything. And I think that's a really cool idea. But I want to kind of implement it in a different kind of way where we're doing it in a 2D environment and use puzzles and platformers to get and use sound to help you navigate, you know, the level and everything like that. And I think that would be super cool. And maybe we can turn the concept on its head, see how we can use sound in interesting ways. Like, can you just use sound to like see the environment, or can you use sounds as like means to navigate through an environment? So for example, if there's like a gap in the floor that you can't jump, can you make something produce, you know, sound, and the sound echoes are like or something you can stand on and cross the gap with? I don't know. I think it would be kind of interesting, and maybe there'll have to be some sort of enemies and something to navigate things with. So we want to play with the idea of sound, and this is one of the primary examples that I want to kind of derive from, and I think that's one of them. Inspiration, for example. I don't know if I need to have multiple inspirations. Maybe I can use like Limbo as an example as well. So is that the next one? Inspiration. Just a second. Okay. So inspiration, this is heading 2. Yeah, so perception is one of them. So I guess this has to be heading 3. Limbo. And what do they write for inspiration? So it provides the ingenuity for the player to control a body that isn't always helpful. Baba is you, main inspiration towards the style and mood of the game. Okay. And then we have player experience. Oops. Player experience, platform, development software. Then genre and target audience. Cool. All right, so those are the categories that we want to kind of briefly write about in this document. So perception. Forget if is it categorized as a horror game? Yeah, I suppose. What does it say on Steam? Let's go to the store page. Mostly positive. Yeah, horror and adventure. So it is a 3D horror game that how would I want to write this? That so challenges players control a blind character. Maybe I can write. It's a horror game that challenges players to control a blind character navigating a 3D environment. To solve. Why did it break it like that? The word environment. It's like envi-environment. Thanks. To solve a what does their store page even say about it? Is there a such reviews? About this game, Perception is an award-winning narrative thriller about a blind woman's journey to uncover the truth about the man she from her nightmares or else become one of its victims. Okay, so to solve, so to uncover the truth of the mansion they explore. I think that's a good enough synopsis here. So perception is the main inspiration for the primary is the main for the mechanics of Project Echo, that of Echo Reload. Is that what it's even called? Echo Relocation? Yeah, I guess that's what it's called. I don't know. I feel like I use the word navigate too much. It's another synonym for navigate. Synonym or navigate. Steer, helm, sail, cruise, traverse. That'll be to It's a horror game that challenges players to control a blind character exploring. I'll say exploring here so that I can use navigating in another place. I don't know how nitpicky I am being with this document, but whatever. To navigate. To navigate through a dangerous environment. We also want to use as a reference for how the echo relocation visually affects the and then limbo. We kind of want to use both like limbo and inside. I think that's the other one. Yeah, those are both really good games. Limbo, I can't say for sure if Limbo is a 3D game or if it is 2D or if it's 2.5D. Could be 2D with just like simulated physics that make it feel like maybe it's 3D, but also something similar to this as like an art style where like you don't really see anything, but when you do kind of echo relocate, you'll kind of get the general like shapes of the environment. And I think that'll be a really good sense of the thing. So this is also like a puzzle platformer. So I would also want to say, and also the, you know, potential game feel of playing. Maybe we'd want to say, maybe I can also, can I link this? Is there a way to get the actual copy link address? I can. So Limbo. And it'd be kind of cool. Maybe that'd be kind of cool when you use echo relocation. It shows like your environment, but also it exposes a little bit like the back of the environment, like the depth of the environment, maybe. I think maybe that'll be an interesting idea. We want to try and emulate the three C's: camera, character, controls from Limbo, as well as the overall world composition. I think that would be good. Can I get, because they provide images as well here. Man, I already finished my Arizona iced tea. perception game. Let's just get an image. I think that's a good image. Copy. Like that. About game. I think that's pretty cool, and I think that would be kind of powerful too if you use like echo relocation, and you just see like the silhouette of like a body hanging, and be like, where the fuck am I? Like, I don't know what the general story would be, but you know, I think that would be kind of cool, where you don't know what's going on, but you know, you just get sort of clues from the environment and some storytelling that way. Like, I'd still think there has to be some enemies that you have to navigate and, you know, maneuver from, and maybe it's one of those things where like you can't touch them, or you know, something like that. I think would be interesting. Platform, we'll say player experience there. So game is developed to be released on Windows PC. I think that's good enough. I don't want to do anything more than that at the moment. Development software, we're going to use Godot. So this is what Godot help. It's about Godot. Yeah, 4 point. Wow, they got. That's pretty cool that they write everybody there. So license, no. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this over my other monitor just so I can read it off. So Godot engine v 4.2.2 dot stable dot official for programming development. So I don't know. Music and audio, we'll say an A for now. Art, we'll also say an A. Genre, as he write it, so single player puzzle, casual, 2D puzzle, platformer, indie, casual. I don't know if I want to say horror, maybe like light horror. If that's even a category, I'm not even sure. Target audience. So Project Echo is marketed towards players who enjoy whoops. Project is marketed for players who enjoy light, horror, and mysterious environments to explore. Environments with the inclusion of puzzles, and I guess loose conditions. Project Echo can appeal to most audiences. Maybe that's good enough. And this is what I wrote for player experience. So using sounds, because I also want with echo relocation, I want that to be based off of, you know, the player's feeling of fear, like the character's feeling of fear. You know, the more scared they are, the louder they can scream, and the more the environment they can uncover. And, you know, fear levels can be kind of added or removed. I should add that to the thing. So, enforces that strips players of their sense of sight, and challenges them to rely on sound, both from the environment and themselves, to navigate. Or should I say, like, to survive? I think that may be more ominous. I think that's generally good. So in a single screen dungeon, for each of the players, solve a short but perhaps complex puzzle requiring planning and management. Okay, so using sounds. So the combination of environment sounds and their own voice. Players navigate through a dangerous world players must navigate through a dangerous world I'm not sure how I should phrase this. So player experiences. So players navigate through a dangerous world. This is so tough. I don't know how to really phrase this or write this. I gotta think for like a hot second, maybe. So the player's experience. So the player must learn to control their fear and to utilize the sound, to utilize both the sounds of the environment and so the sound and from themselves in order to safely navigate through a dangerous world. So the player must learn how to use sound to their advantage in what would be the best way to say this? To use sound to their advantage in more ways than one, I suppose. I think that's a good enough first section, honestly. We have the game pitch, we have the inspirations, player experience, platform development software. We don't really know yet what we want to do for art and music or anything like that. Can target audience and everything like that. Okay. Now, can I add? There's a table. Is there a table of contents? Awesome. Ah. Okay, so we got our table of contents. Awesome. It's on the side. All good. Okay. So we'll definitely save the rest for another time, I think. Did everything save with this document? Yes, okay. So list, and then delete this list. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll continue that another time. So now we can kind of go back to the Brackeys tutorial and kind of continue watching that. So I'm gonna go ahead, move this stuff back over, and we have where we kind of left off last time. So again, to give you the idea, we had this, and we can move left and right, jump, all that cool stuff. So we're going to continue where we left up there. So hopefully, you know, if people want to watch and learn as well, I'll pop it up in the chat if you want to watch alongside.
Do something less like 130 and the jump velocity to say -3. The speed can modify our speed as well as our jump velocity. So I'm going to set the speed to something less like 130 and the jump velocity to say...
So count speed, he's changing it to 130 and -300?
-300. We can move around using
God.
arrow keys and jump with the spacebar. Now our player is currently a bit too fast and I think his jump is a bit too high, so let's modify our script to change that. Let's close our game, go into our script, and at the top here there are two constants that we can modify. Our speed as well as our jump velocity. So I'm going to set the speed to something less like 130 and the jump velocity to say -300.
See what that looks
now
like.
when we play, it looks and feels a lot better. So our player is moving around, but currently there's not much to look at. So let's build a world to explore. World building 1.0.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how for my game I want to build the world. Like,
so to build our world,
I want it to be a 2D game, but I wanted to have like depth of like. So I don't know if it's gonna be like a 2.5D or if it's just gonna be like a layered, you know, 2D kind of thing. We'll have to see.
By removing our collider here, we're going to build an actual ground for him to stand on, and let's instead add a tile map node. So let's press new node and search for tile map. Now, the most common way to create levels in 2D is by using tiles. In other words, we build our game world by drawing different tiles onto a grid. This is a great way to work because we can create a lot of varied levels using just a few tiles. The tile assets we use to paint are normally packed together into one big image, just like our player was. This is called the tile set. So the tile set is a collection of tiles that we can use to paint from, and the tile map that we just created is the node we use to paint these tiles into our world. So to start painting on our tile map, we need to add a tile set. So in our inspector under tile set, we'll create a new tile set, And if we press it here, we get to configure some things about it. The main thing you want to make sure is set correctly is the tile size. The tile set in our asset does indeed have 16 by 16 pixel tiles, so we'll just leave that as is.
Okay, cool.
Now at the bottom here, you can see that we have two tabs. We have the tile set and tile map. So before we can start painting with our tile map, let's go into our tile set and configure this property. The main thing we want to do is drag in our tile set asset. So let's go into our assets folder under sprites and drag in the world tileset.png. It's going to ask us if we would like to automatically create tiles in the atlas. We do, so let's press yes. And now let's make some more room here and we can zoom in to view it. And as you can see, it's actually gone ahead and automatically detected the grid cells that have tiles. If for some reason it's made an error, we can always use our eraser here to remove tiles. In this case here, it thinks that the top of the palm tree is a bunch of different tiles. I'm going to use the eraser to get rid of these and instead go out of the erase mode and then hold down.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, so we did something like that.
On shift while clicking and dragging to turn this into one big tile.
Nice.
It's
okay,
also
we
split
got
up
there.
the trees into 3 different tiles, but in this case it's actually something that we want because it allows us to create trees of varying heights. I'll show you this once we start painting. Other than that, I think it looks good. So with this tile set up, we can now go to our tile map and start painting. Make sure that the scene has the select tool and that the tile map has the paint tool enabled. And
Okay, so select.
now let's simply select a tile and start painting it in.
Okay, so we can select the tile. Start painting it in, huh? Nice. That's pretty cool.
If you make a mistake, you can always right click to remove. So I'm just gonna fast forward through me drawing out the level here. As you can see, I begin by blocking out the most essential game parts, leaving in room for gameplay objects like moving platforms and enemies. And then only once I'm finished with that, I start decorating. And if the trick here is that you can select multiple tiles at once to paint in more than one, and you can always go into select mode in order to select large chunks and move them.
Okay. Oh man, am I gonna have to duplicate that?
Now once I'm ready to start decorating, let me just show you the cool trick with the trees here. So let's
Okay, I guess we can go in and copy that. We'll be doing that for a New York minute. So we got 2 tiles underneath him. Then it's these ones again. This one, this one, and this one. Oops. Then a cracked one. Clean one underneath it. One something like this. And this and this. Clean one again, hit like that. Like that, then a cracked. And then a ice tile, yeah. 2 ice tiles. Then a snowy ice? No, snowy rock. And then something like this. And then a cracked one. I think he chose this one. Very nice, very nice. Slowly just copying, painting stuff. Now he said we can... Is it shift? And then we can... Oh. Or is it like, do I grab this? No. Ah. Okay, so it's just literally like that. Okay. And then we can do something like this again. Oh, I forgot it's not drag and drop. It's like click and click, you know. Then 2 space, like that. Snow-capped one. No blocks underneath that one. Like that. Then like that. The cracked one. I mean, I feel like you can lose yourself in like painting tiles. It's pretty cool. Then this one is from 1 square. It's so 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Like that. And more grass. Up. And then 2 grass up here. Dirt ones again. Boom, boom. Grass ones again. Boom, boom. Dirt one. Boom, boom. Now is it just I guess it's just. How do I move one? Well, I guess I just do that. Got that going for us. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. 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 I'm also kind of curious how lighting would work. You know, because I guess my game technically I don't think will have lighting in the traditional sense. Like it'll have like the sound and the echoes of the sound acting as sources of light so that you can just see the environment a little bit. So I'm kind of curious how that would translate in that way. But yeah, things to keep in mind. So yeah, boom, boom, boom. And then boom, boom, boom. Now he's got, I think 2 cracked here, like that. Oh, like that. And you again. Like that. I think that's cracked. That's cracked. That's like that. Then he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up. Like that. Ah. And these are cracked. Ah. I'm finding myself a lot accidentally highlighting more than one. That seems to be what he did.
Now once I'm ready to start decorating, let me just show you the cool trick with the trees here. So let's say we want to add a tree here at the top. Well, then we can actually just paint the bottom and choose how tall we want the tree to be and then paint the top. So that's one of the advantages of working with tiles, is that we can also make individual elements really, really flexible. So once you're happy with the level, let's just...
Okay, there's more. So for now, we're gonna just 1-to-1 the level that he's doing.
Just go ahead and press.
So he do a tree. Oh no, nope. Looks like Marge Simpson. I think that's right. No. Like that. That's right? Then he does some mushrooms. Nice. Alright, hold on. I heard a door slam. I'll be back. Hopefully I don't get murdered. Alright, we're Gucci. Oh, yeah, he put some mushroom. So it's actually more like mushroom and a tree here. Like that. Like a cap mushroom here. We also put some sort of potion here. Some bush here. And then what? A rock of some kind. The rock here. I think that's pretty much what you do in decorating style.
Let's play, and our player is going to fall right off.
Right.
That's because we need to add a physics layer to our tiles. To do this, we go to our tile map, go under our tile set.
So let's just, so how do I get off painting? Like this? Yeah, and then I save, simulate, I'm just gonna boop, bye bye, papa.
Physics layers and add a new layer.
So tile sets, physics layers, add new element.
Then with this layer, we can go under our tile set, and here we need to choose what tiles belong to the physics layer, because we don't want to collide with everything in our tile map. The trees and bushes, we just want to pass right through. So let's go to paint here, and the property that we want to paint is the physics layer 0 we just created. And now we can actually go ahead and paint onto our tiles these physics settings. So I'm simply going to paint this onto all the different solid tiles. And if you make a mistake and want to remove a tile, we go here, select clear, and now we can paint with no physics, or we can go back to the default tile shape, which is the entire tile, and paint with that, or simply hit F to do that. So C and F are the shortcuts here. Now, there are also some tiles that we do want physics on, but where we need the collider to only be on part of the tile, such as our bridge here. So if I zoom in on our bridge, we can see that if I just paint physics,
let's do these
onto these, it doesn't look right. Instead, we need to go in and only paint a partial collider. So over here on the left, we can actually modify these colliders to exactly suit our needs. We can even add and remove points by clicking and right-clicking. But in this case, 4 points will do just fine, and that's a good shape for our collider. Then we can paint these onto the 3 different tiles. And then for the next one here, we can configure it. This slants up a bit. I'm going to paint that on as well. And then for the final one here, let's go ahead and make that go in the opposite direction. And here you actually want to be pretty precise whenever you have an overlap of the colliders here. I think that looks pretty good. This helps avoid that our character gets stuck. I'm also going
I wasn't watching that part. Give me a second. I gotta do the rest. Okay, so that's decent.
And here you actually want to be pretty...
I guess I can fix this. Okay.
Precise whenever you have an overlap of the colliders here. I think that looks pretty good. This helps avoid that our character gets stuck.
Okay.
I think that looks pretty good. This helps avoid that you have an overlap of the colliders here. I think that looks pretty good. This helps avoid that our character gets stuck. I'm also going to take the tile map and drag it to the very top so that we can always find it. And now when we play, we are indeed colliding. At the very top, character gets stuck. I'm also going to take the tile map and drag it to the very top so that we can always find it. And now when we play, we are indeed colliding with our environment.
Okay.
Awesome. Now we probably...
Let's see if what I just did anything. Yeah. It's pretty good. So tile map, tile set. Yeah, I have to. Can I move these? Whoop. Something like that is better. Maybe that's better. It's just like I want to get that like dip that he has. Yeah. Okay, so that's problematic. Because I can't move in between. I think that's what he was just mentioning. So tile set. Let's see. Okay, so that works a little better. Now the opposite side. Like that, maybe. Hopefully that'll work. No. Dang. Why? Wish there was a better way to like snap. Oh. Maybe it's because it wasn't matching. There we go. Did I fall off the... So yeah, the camera's not really following. But yeah, that's nice. Okay, we got the collision stuff working, so awesome.
We want our camera to follow the player because he's currently just running off the screen. So I'm going to make some room here. I'm going to take the camera 2D and simply drag it under the player.
Okay, so that's exactly what he's talking about. Okay. So is it literally just parenting? It'll just be attached?
The player means that it will just automatically follow the player node.
Okay.
I'm also going to
getting my
sure
questions
that the
answered
camera is
immediately.
Still positioned right on top of the player. And we can even turn on position smoothing to really smooth out our camera follow. So I'm going to enable position smoothing on the camera with a default.
Okay, so that's pretty much like camera lag.
And now
there's rotation smoothing as well.
As you can see, our camera smoothly follows our player.
Okay. Definitely easy. Let's see if it works. Yes. That's nice. So maybe my game can be like tile map based, but like creepy. Just to make, or at least the initial like prototype and stuff like that. I think that would be very cool. But yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. So now we have a first draft of our game world, but so far everything is stuck to the grid. Let's start adding some dynamic and moving elements, such as platforms. Platforms, some that move and some that don't.
Excuse me.
So whenever we are creating a new element of our game, we begin by making a new scene. And for the root node here, I'm going to hit add and search for the animatable body 2D. This is a physics body that we use whenever we want to animate a node and still have it collide properly with other nodes in its path, which is perfect for moving platforms that should still collide properly with our player. So let's hit create and let's add some graphics. So Control A, we'll search for sprite and select the sprite 2D. And now we can drag in the texture we want. So let's go under our assets, sprites, and drag in the platforms.png. Let's hit F and zoom in. And as you can see, this is also a sprite sheet and it's currently just displaying all of them. So let's go in and define exactly which one we want to show. We can do this under region, enabled, and hit edit region. And so we can kind of crop out the element that we want to show. I'm going to change the snap mode here to pixel snap. And I'm just going to go for a default grass platform. That looks good. And now when we close it, we can see our sprite perfectly cropped out. Again, we have the warning here, so let's go ahead and add a collision shape 2D. For the shape, I'm going to add a rectangle shape, and now we can simply click and drag this to configure it. Then let's rename our top node here to platform and save the scene, so Control S.
Okay, hold on, he's speed running. Looks good.
Top node here to platform and save the scene, so Control S. In our scenes folder, hit save. We've actually created our platform. So in our game scene, we can drag it in, go under scenes, find the platform, drag it into wherever we'd like, and let's hit play. And as you can see, it works. However, one problem right now is that we can't actually jump onto the platform from underneath. To fix this, we turn it into a one-way platform. So in our platform scene, let's select our collision shape and enable one-way collision. And now when we play, we can jump onto platforms from underneath. However, the player is currently passing behind the platform.
So is that the case? No, whoops. I don't want to save YouTube. Whoop. We gotta add a platform. Boo, boo, boo. Nice. I like how just straightforward that is. That's nice.
This is because the platform is currently after the player in the tree. This means that each frame, the player is drawn first, and then the platform
so we just gotta switch the order?
on top.
Yeah.
We could just move the player in the tree, but I don't want to depend on that. Instead, we fix the draw order by changing the z-index of the player. So in our player scene, we go under ordering and set the z-index to something higher like 5. By default, all visible nodes have a z-index of 0. Because they all have the same index, they are drawn according to their order in the tree. So by setting the z-index to a higher value, like 5, we ensure that our player will always appear on top.
Nice.
And now if we play, we can see that our player passes in front of the platform. So our platform is working, but it's currently just hovering there. We might want some platforms to move around to increase difficulty. So let's use animation to do that. I'm going to leave this platform here as kind of a static platform. I'm just going to place it there. Then I'm going to place another platform over here by simply dragging it in. This is the platform that I would like to move back and forth. In fact, let me just go into the tile map and make this gap even larger. There we go. So to add animation to this platform only, we simply select it, add a new node, and we want to use an animation player. Let's hit create. And now we can add a new animation, and let's name that move. Animation players in Godot are extremely powerful because they allow us to animate pretty much anything.
Okay, what did it do? What word move?
Add a new animation, and let's name that move. Animation players in Godot are extremely powerful because they allow us to animate pretty much anything. In this case, we just want to do something really simple. We want to go to our platform and make a keyframe under transform for the position. So I'll hit the key.
Hold on.
In this case, we just want to do something really simple. We want to go to our platform and make a keyframe under transform for the position. So I'll hit the key right here and hit create. Then we can go forward in our timeline here to say 1 second, move our platform to the right. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm also going to hold
on. Okay.
Make a keyframe under transform for the position. So I'll hit the key right here and hit create. Then we can go forward in our timeline here to say 1 second, move our platform to the right. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm also going to hold down shift to kind of snap it to one axis. Let's move it to there, and let's add another keyframe. And now we can see that if we play, the animation plays. We also want this to loop, so I'm going to select loop here. However, this is going to loop in a way that it snaps back to the original keyframe. Instead, let's press it again, and now you can see that it's going to start ping-ponging back and forth. If this is currently too fast, we can simply increase the length.
Okay. Why does it move like that? It feels like it hiccups. Why is that not smooth?
Of our animation loop here, the animation plays another keyframe. And now we can see that if we play, the animation plays.
His also hiccups.
We also want this to loop, so I'm going to select loop here. However, this is going to loop in a way that it snaps back to the original keyframe. Instead, let's press it again, and now you can see that it's going to start ping-ponging back and forth. If this is currently too fast, we can simply increase the length of our animation. So here's the length. Let's set it to 1.5 instead, and drag our last keyframe to the end. And there we go. We now have a moving platform. Let's just make sure that we set it to autoplay. And now when we play the game and go to the place where we made our platform, we can see that it's moving back and forth. And if we jump onto it, the player will smoothly follow it. Really cool. And that's already...
Okay. Let's see. Nice.
So much you can do with this. Next up, pickups. Now let's add a coin that we can pick up. Again, we start by creating a new scene. Let's create a new node, and let's this time search for area 2D. This is a type of node that we use whenever we don't want to collide with other objects, but instead we just want to define an area in which we can detect collisions. So we simply use this to detect if another body enters, such as the player character. Let's create an area 2D. Let's also add some graphics, so Control A, search for sprite. We'll select the animated sprite. Under animation, let's add some new sprite frames. Selected, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here. I'm going to use the coin.png, zoom in on this, and this only has one grid cell on the vertical, and horizontally it has 12.
Oh, hold on. Can I drag that on?
As we use sprite frames, we'll select it, and let's load in from a sprite sheet here.
Okay.
I'm going to use the coin.png, zoom in on this, and this only has one grid cell on the vertical, and horizontally it has 12. And now we can click from left to right or simply click and drag and add the frames. Let's hit F and zoom in. And horizontally it has 12. And now we can click from left to right or simply click and drag and add the frames. Let's hit F and zoom in. Set the FPS to 10 and hit play. And that's our coin animation. Let's make sure that this auto plays. And just like a normal physics body, an area 2D also needs a collision shape. So let's add a collision shape.
Hold on. Is autoplay? Yeah. Nice. Okay.
2D also needs a collision shape. So let's add a collision shape 2D. And then for the shape, let's just choose a circle shape. Decrease the radius a bit. And that's actually all we need. So let's select our area and rename it to coin and save the scene. And now we can simply drag it into our game. So under scenes, I'll take the coin and place it around the level. You can always use Ctrl D to duplicate. And now if we play, we can see that the coin is here, but nothing happens if we enter the area. So it's time to make our first script.
All right, hold on. Now we should be able to, right? We can drop coins in. Blah, blah, blah. It's weird that it makes it a child of, like when you copy and paste, it makes it a child of it. I don't like that functionality. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I'll put a coin up there for a challenge. One more coin. Whoa. It's weird where these kind of coins go. Somewhere there. Let's see. Nice. So coin, fall. Whoops. Rip to the goat. Let's try that again. So coin. Oh my god. So, practicing getting all the coins. Nice.
So in our coin scene, we select the coin node and hit add script. This time for the template, let's just choose the default template. And for the path, let's make sure that this goes under the scripts folder. I'll create, and this is what it looks like when we create a default script in Godot. We can see that we've created the script on an Area 2D node, and that it's automatically made two functions for us that we often use: ready and process. Currently, both of them only have the pass keyword, which means do nothing. So this script, if we run it, will do absolutely nothing. Now, the ready function is called right when our node enters the scene tree, which is just at the start of the game.
Cool.
So we can put code here.
So I think after this, we'll call it a night for streaming.
Let's try it out by printing a quick message to see if it's working. So I'm going to write print, then in parentheses and quotes, I'm going to put I'm a coin. And if we play now, the print doesn't do anything in our game, but it does show our message, I'm a coin, in the output window. This is also referred to as the console and is where we see messages such as prints and errors. However, you might also notice that the message displays multiple times. That's because we currently have multiple coins around our game, and the script runs for each and every one. So since we have 5 coins, it displays I'm a coin 5 times. But we don't want anything to happen when we start the game, so I'm actually just going to remove these two functions. Instead, we only want to do something once our player enters the coin area. And for this,
signals,
we use
right?
a signal.
Yeah.
Signals allow us to trigger code based on events that happen in our game. Godot has many built-in
So,
signals
node.
we can use. If we select our Area 2D node and go to the Node tab, we can see all the signals on this node. We want
Area
to use
entered, I
the
guess?
body entered signal,
Body entered.
which is triggered whenever a physics body enters the area. Since our player has a character body 2D node, this is going to trigger the signal. So to connect it, we simply double-click it and hit connect. As you can see, this creates a new function in our script called onBodyEntered with a green arrow that shows that this is triggered by a signal. So let's here try writing a print function that says something like +1 coin. Now when we play and enter the coin area, it's going to print +1 coin. However, this message will actually display no matter which body enters the area. If we take one of these coins here and put it in the way of a moving platform, for example, this will also trigger the message. So now, right when we play, we can see that it starts displaying the message, and will do so every time the platform passes through the
Interesting.
area.
Yeah,
To
see,
change
you're gonna
this,
have
we
to
can
check.
either use code to check what
Yeah.
body enters the area, or we can simply put our player on a separate physics layer. Let's try that out.
Huh.
So under our player, we'll go to the inspector, go to collision, and here we can change the physics layer from layer 1 to 2. Let's hit Ctrl S to save, and then in our coin, we can also go under collision.
Oh. Let's see. So collision.
Let's hit Ctrl S to
This one, okay. Layer 2.
save, and then in our coin, we can also go under collision. We can actually have the coin itself stay on layer 1. We don't need a separate layer for that yet, but we want to make sure that it only detects colliders in layer 2. For this, we use the
No, it's up here. Okay, collision.
mask. The mask defines what layers a node collides with. So let's set that to layer 2, because that's the layer that our player is on. That should actually do it. Now our coin will only detect collisions from our player.
Okay.
And instead of just displaying a message, let's also remove the coin from our scene when we pick it up. So in our script, after printing one coin, let's add a new line. We'll call the queue_free function, which is simply going to remove the entire coin scene from our game.
Oops.
And indeed it does. And our knight can now start gathering some coin. Now, depending on what type of loot we pick up, we want different things to happen. In this case, I want to display a score that increases when we pick up a coin. But we'll look at that when we get to text. First, I think something a bit more pressing is dying and restarting our game.
Okay. So I think that is a good point. I think to end the stream for tonight. We got a little bit done. Still working on the tutorial, but I'm learning a lot, and I'm getting a good idea of how I want my project to kind of work, I suppose. So yeah, we have our project Echo here. So we're going to continue this next time. You know, there's still a lot more to write for this example document. I don't like. I gotta figure out what the primary mechanics will be. Yeah, art and design, audio, game experience. I don't really care about development timelines, but we still got a good amount to write. And I think it'll be nice to have a concise, high level kind of design written down that we can kind of stick to. And yeah, we still have a lot of tutorials that we can watch for Godot. I think we're going to watch a little bit more for the rest of the month, I think. And then at the end of the month, we'll kind of try to get started with our game. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll probably stream tomorrow morning. I think I'll still stream Godot, and maybe on Monday we'll go back to Unreal to continue our gas course project. So until then, have a good night, and I'll see you soon.